Hello, everyone. Mofelola, you are the first one today. Welcome. Monica, Mary, oh dear. Oh, Stephen. Stephen is number one today, actually. Nena Kalu. Mel Cyril. Williams. Welcome, everyone. Now, today is going to be an interesting program. So please, let's go ahead and call our friends. Let's go ahead and contact our friends and call our friends and invite them to hear my story, my brush with witchcraft, my brush with witchcraft. And so let's go ahead and invite our people. Please share this, especially people who like to hear stories about witchcraft. And a lot of people have told me that, oh, you've been living in Europe for too long. That's why you don't know what witchcraft is. Okay, this is the topic of today is how I lost 3 prominent family members to witchcraft in 6 months. 3 prominent family members to witchcraft in 6 months. So, so I would like you to go and tag as many people as you want, especially Africans who really want to know what to do with witchcraft. So today I'm starting a new, it's still about, satanic attack and not satanic attack, but a new subtitle I'm starting. It's still about Satan and demonic something, but today I'm starting a new series on that is going to be in the area of understanding Satan and his operations. So how to understand Satan and how the satanic kingdom is built. Understanding Satan and his kingdom and his operations. So that's what we're going to be talking about mainly. Not just today. It's going to take me like for another maybe few weeks just for me to be able to break down out understanding Satan and how he operates. So, but today I'm starting this series by talking about my family. So that people who say I don't have any experience of what Africa is, I don't understand them, and I've been living in Europe for too long, I don't know the reality of what's on ground, I don't understand satanic attack. You will now hear my story and know that I do know what satanic attack is all about. So again, if you have invited your friends, if you have invited as many people as you could invite, I would like to start the story today. So today's topic is how I lost 3 prominent family members. Now, in Nigeria, in the 70s, there used to be just one newspaper. Can you believe it? In Nigeria, in the 70s, there used to be just one newspaper. And that newspaper was called Daily Times. Now, on Sundays, they call themselves Sunday Times. But on ordinary days, it's just Daily Times. There used to be other little newspapers, but they were not. This was a national daily. That was the most prominent national daily. So when I say it used to be the only newspaper, it doesn't mean that it's the only newspaper that existed in the country, but it's the nationally recognized daily. That Daily Times was a national. It was actually run by the government. It was a nationally run newspaper company. Observer was not national because Observer was more Bende State, and it came later on. I'm talking about 60s, 70s, early 70s. So if you go to, if you appear on Nigerian Daily Times, if there is a news that appears on Nigerian Daily Times and it's not government news, that news must be really big. That news must be really, really big. Now, this my story that I'm about to talk about now, it actually appeared in the national newspaper of Nigeria in June, the first Sunday of June, 1973. So if you go to the archive of Daily Times or Sunday Times and you look for the story, that's how I got to know, because I was small. In 73, I was just 6 years old. So, but when I grew up, when I was about to write my biography, I have a biography, a book that is called Olorunwa. So Olorunwa is my biography. It's a storybook. You know, it's on sale in on Amazon. So so when I was writing that, I was trying to look for our story because I knew that it was a prominent story. It was a big story in the country, and I knew it was reported in newspapers. So I was looking for the newspapers that, I mean, since it was Daily Times, it was easy. So, but I was lucky enough for me. I didn't know that that Daily Times, I think they have closed down now. Maybe they have closed down or they have reopened in another way. But I think they are just now electronic newspapers. Anyway, but this was 10 years ago. I went into the internet. There was already internet, thank God. And I went to archive of Daily Times. Guess what? Here was my story, Adelaja. And it was written there. A family is in my, in fact, the copy of the newspaper is in my book. I put that newspaper cut, I mean, the story from the newspaper in my Olorunwa book. So it says, a family lost 3 prominent members in 6 months. Then he put the picture of my brother, my uncle, my brother, and the other brother. It put the picture of 2 brothers on the front page. I mean, this was the time when Gowon was the president, and it was just, Nigeria just finished the civil war. Nothing about the war, nothing about Awolowo, nothing about Nnamdi Azikiwe, nothing about the president, nothing about the military council. The whole whatever front page of this newspaper, the national newspaper of Nigeria, was carrying my family story. So any one of you can check it out, just for you to know when I'm talking, that I know what I'm talking about when I'm about to narrate this story to you. So it put the picture of 2 of my brothers and says, and the topic was, a family lost 3 prominent members in 6 months. Is this a curse? Is this a tragedy or a curse? The throat, tragedy or a curse? A tragedy or a curse? So it was talking, of course, mainly about Dr. Adelaja, who was the firstborn of my grandmother, of our family, and was the most senior. This was news. This was Daily Times. Daily Times. It was called Daily Times. Maybe it was. You could say it is Sunday Times, either Daily Times or Sunday Times, because on Sundays I think it was a Sunday edition, so it was called. It will be Sunday Times. So this was a big story in the country. I mean, the country stood still. So what is the situation like? I mean, and people who come from that Ijebu area, they will know, I mean, if they are old enough, they will know what we are talking about, because everybody ran away from Idomila. I come from Idomila, and that's why I always talk about Idomila. I always talk about it, because Idomila was known as a village that everybody had to run away from, as a village of curse or curses, as a cursed village. And my grandmother that gave birth to these children was regarded as a cursed woman and as a witch, maybe, by some people. And that was the person who brought all of us up. So how can a mother bring everybody up and then just, suddenly want them to die? Anyway, let me start from the beginning. So who are these people to me? Now, in Africa, my grandfather, the Papa Adelaja, was the head of the village. As the head of the village, he was not a king, but he was called Bale at that point. As the head of the village, he was also the head of he was also like a medicinal doctor, like a herbalist. And as the head of the village and a herbalist, he had 12 wives. So my grandmother was just one of the wives. And my grandmother had a son. That son was called Kola Adelaja, or Akolade Adelaja. Kola Adelaja. Now, Kola Adelaja was the firstborn from my mother's side. So, the grandfather had many wives, but this is my own direct mother line now. So our grandmother had the first child, Kola Adelaja. Then the second one was my mother. So you see the relation now. The second child was my mother, but she was a woman. And then the third born was a son, Demori Adelaja. Now, the second, because the second child was a son, was a daughter with my mother, they, in the 40s and 50s, something was happening there in Nigeria. They didn't believe in spending money on girl child. Okay. So if you're a girl child, you don't go to school. So this first child, who is Kola Adelaja, was sent to school. And it was good. It was very good. All my siblings still believe that that's the brightest person from our family up to now. So he was exceptionally bright. It was actually in the first set of University of Nigeria in Nsukka. The people who are from Nigeria know we have a University of Nigeria that is located in Nsukka. And so this my brother was the first year student in that university. Now this my brother that I'm talking about, so that you know it's not a far-fetched story. He was the senior of Pastor Adeboye, E.A. Adeboye, by 2 years in the university. So this man was 2 years senior to Baba Adeboye in the university. So it's a life story. It's a story that could be verified. And he was an active guy. He was, always very brilliant. Then when he finished, his university in Nsukka, he got a federal government scholarship to go study in the top university in Europe at that time. And it's still one of the top universities in Europe. In England, I think the top university is Oxford, yeah? But in France, the top university in France is called Sorbonne. Sorbonne that's the popular name they call it, but it's like University of France or University of something like that. But the real popular name is Sorbonne. Sorbonne is it's always been one of the top universities. Now, when this man was in Sorbonne, he met an English lady. She's still alive today, who came because he was studying French, and she also was learning French in England. And then she came as an exchange student to France to study French. And that's where they met my brother, and they married. So then after his PhD, he was doing his PhD. Then he moved to England, taught a little bit in University of Leeds, because the wife was from Leeds area. So taught York. But he taught at the University of Leeds. They were together with another prominent Nigerian. They were classmates with Akin. He was a foreign minister. What they call it? Bolaji Akinyemi, I think. I think it's called Bolaji Akinyemi. He was a foreign minister for Nigeria during the time of Babangida. He was a foreign minister for Nigeria. I think Bolaji Akinyemi, they call him. If anybody remembers, you could write that. I think so. I think it's Bolaji Akinyemi. So they were friends. That Bolaji Akinyemi also married an English lady. So that is the first one. But when he got back to Nigeria, Bolaji Akinyemi, that's the name. So this Bolaji Akinyemi used to come to our village. They used to sit down there, and we used to, professor. So these were colleagues. So both my brother was also a professor. He was a professor in University of Ife, and working at the foreign office, Nigerian foreign office. He was the editor. This my brother, Kola Adelaja, was the editor of, Nigeria used to produce a magazine. They used to call either New Nigeria or something Nigeria. So, just to talk about Nigeria to the world. So Kola Adelaja used to be the editor. And they were colleagues with, they were both lecturers in University of Ife with Bolaji Akinyemi, and they were working in the foreign ministries together. So everything was good. And then the second, my mother didn't go to school, so she went to marry. She got to marry. Then she gave birth to me. But, she got into a wrong marriage. And as a result, she left me in the village with my grandmother. So that same mother that gave birth to all of them, my grandmother, because my mother took me back because she divorced with her husband because they had a bad marriage. So she took me back to the village to her mother, and she herself got married to another person in another state. So I was growing up with the grandmother who gave birth to all these people. And I was thinking that everybody thought I was the last born. Because she, you know, I was the last one. I was the smallest in the family. But most people didn't know that I was the son of this daughter, because she had married and went over. So I was thinking that was my mother. My grandmother was my mother. You've been hearing me talk about my grandmother. That is the grandmother that gave birth to all these people. So the third born, who was the one after my mother now, went to University of Ibadan. And he finished there and then started working in the Ministry of Statistics in Nigeria. So he was well placed. He was an assistant to the Minister of Statistics that time, doing well. Everybody was good. Then there was another one who is a woman that was about the same age with my mother, but she was now coming from another mother. You know, I told you that our grandfather had all these wives, right? 12 wives. And so this other woman, lady, she was also not sent to school. My mother was not sent to school. She was also not sent to school, but she was sharp. She was sharp in business. My mother was just a regular lady. But the other, a sister who was from another mother, but of the same father, she was so sharp that even though our firstborn went to university, lived abroad, was very well to do, a professor, a lecturer, top. I mean, he was always on this Adelaja Kolawo. They was always on. They used to have a program on television, Ibadan television that time, current affairs. This my brother was always every week, always at least once or twice a week, always on current affairs. He was the one commenting on all the foreign relations of Nigeria, because he was the editor of the magazine. So he was always on television all the time. But despite that, this other lady was richer than all of them. She was the millionaire. She was a wealthy, she was the wealthiest in the family. Even though she didn't go to school, but she married, and she was owing. There is something they call, is it Bedru Market or something in Ibadan? She was based in Ibadan. Dugbe or Dugbe Market in Ibadan. So she had the largest, in the 70s, the largest material, cloth material kind of market, store over there. She controlled everything. She was so big. So this, now, look what happened, Dugbe, yeah. Look what happened. In all these three people, I need somebody to come. Come, yeah, I need to hold on to somebody just to compose myself. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, I'll hold on to you. So, can you believe it that all these people that I'm talking about, apart from my sister, about my mother. That's the professor, that's Kolawole Adelaja, the brother, Demore Adelaja. Those are the two pictures that were in the newspaper, in the Daily Times newspaper, front page. The sister's picture was not there. And then the sister, this one that was she was not the most prominent, but the richest, the wealthiest in money. Three of them, all of them, those were the only successful people, because my mother, who was between them, was not even educated, and she didn't go to school, and she just got to marry, and then she remarried. Then the next one after all these people was my brother Tai in Lagos, in Moscow now. He was just 16 years old at this point. Apart from my mom, it was Tai, and he was only 16 when this happened. In 6 months, not in 6 years, not in 16 months, in 6 months, less than a year, 6 months. That is from December to May. All of them, everybody has died. Everybody that was everybody was dead in 6 months. It was just like a terrible, mind-blowing dream. It was a cause of, that is, that is beyond comprehension, beyond. I mean, the priest that was there, he also was Adelaja. He was coming every 3 months to bury somebody, every 2 months, every 2 months to bury another Adelaja. He was just saying, last 2 months we were here to bury one Adelaja. Now we are here again to bury the last Adelaja, the next Adelaja. Now we are back to bury another Adelaja. My mother, when she heard about the death of the last one, my grandmother that is, she just collapsed. She just collapsed like that. Bam! For the next 1 year, she didn't come back to her senses. She was in emergency or in the ward for 1 year. Just, she just lost it. She just lost it. And I was the only one left in the village. All of us were in college and in boarding school. I didn't know what was. I mean, everybody ran away for their lives. Everybody picked race. Everybody picked race. That Bolaji Akiyemi was the minister. They were in our village all the time. They were coming. Everybody took. From my mother, everybody just took off. Everybody took off from the door. Everybody started on the way. It was our uncle, one of our uncles, which I will tell you the story later on, Banjoko. He took up my brothers. He gave scholarship. My brother, who was 16, was finishing secondary school, but he had to give him the money to finish secondary school. Took my sister, Alaide, that's how my sister Alaide started living with the Banjokos in Ibadan. That's how it grew up together with the Banjokos. And then it gave another ID, my other brother, scholarship to secondary school. Everybody just took off. Everybody took off for their lives. In 6 months. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. This is somebody that was studying. I mean, this is the first doctorate holder in the old vicinity, Ijebu vicinity like that. I mean, not the old Ijebu land, but our own Idomila, Ijebu area. I mean, who was in 20-something. He was already a doctorate holder by 30. He was just 34 years old when he died. And the brother was 29 years old. And it was just a horrible, 3 people and the woman. So let me tell you how this happened. Maybe you are interested in knowing how this happened. So if you are talking about Ijebu, I am an Ijebu man. And if you are talking about witchcraft, believe me, I don't know any other family that has had that kind of stunt with witchcraft. The witchcraft that we had encounter with, because at this time, when the father, our grandfather, the patriarch of the family, when he was alive, nothing was happening like this. He was a strong man, like the way people say it in our language, in our area. He was a strong man. He was a herbalist by excellence by himself. He was a herbalist. He was the head of the village. He was a herbalist, a witch doctor. He was okay. And everybody was safe. No problem. Nobody was dying. Once he died first. So he died and everybody was doing well. But after him, in 6 months, all his children, poo. I'm not even talking about others yet, but I'll get to others. But these are just from my own lineage. So what happened? Let me tell you what happened. That woman that I said was the business tycoon, who was the welfare, it was the lady with the market in Ibadan. She was traveling for a business trip. She was not driving, she had a driver. That time, it was a Mercedes-Benz. She was in the car at the back, the driver was there, and accident. She died on spot. Ooh. So that was the first death. This was November. This was November 1972. So they now put the burial. The Nigeria, the burial always takes some time, a month. So it took a month for the burial. So the burial was in December. December, after the burial, just before Christmas, they wanted to bury her before they entered the new year, all those kind of stories. So they buried her maybe on the 23rd or 22nd of December before Christmas. So on Christmas Day, the whole family came to Ijebu for the burial. So the junior brother, which is not the professor was engaged. He didn't, but the junior brother from the Ministry of Statistics, he was the one who came to Ijebu for the burial of the sister. On his way back, he had an accident and died on spot. A month later. The girlfriend, he was not married that day morning. The girlfriend, the fiancé, they had just done engagement and they were planning to marry. She survived it. He died on the spot. The only Adelaja, prominent Adelaja that was left was this professor. When he had, even though he was teaching in University of Ife, and he was, doing commentator work at the Ibadan television. So he was staying in Ibadan. It was actually at a point he was actually staying in Banjoko's house. So anyway, when he had that, the sister had just been buried, on the way from the burial of the sister, that the brother died, he just went into a deep depression. Or we didn't know what it is. There's an hospital in Ibadan, a prominent hospital. I think it should still be there. They used to call UCH or something. Yeah, UCH. I think it was a teaching hospital or something. They put 16 doctors. The federal government attached 16 doctors to him to find out what was happening. He would not eat. He would be talking and saying, Maureen, we didn't agree like this. What happened? Where are you? What is happening? What are our plans? And so he just started talking to himself and, saying what is happening. He has a wife. The wife, Susan, she's alive right now. She's in the UK. She went back to the UK after. They had 2 girls, 2 daughters. They are there right now in the UK. Rome Canton, okay? They were growing up. He was happy. He likes to swim because he was in Europe. He liked to take the wife to UCH. Somewhere there to swim. They used to go to swim every night. He likes swimming a lot. And the wife, because his wife was a white lady and it's always hot in Africa, so she enjoys swimming. So he was saying, "Oh, don't go to swim." He was always driving the wife to swim. He stopped driving the wife to swim. He would not go to swim himself. He rejected all the appointments on the television. He would not go and comment. He would not go to work. He just went into deep darkness. 5 months later, this was in December when his brother died. He would not eat. He would not do anything. They admitted him. They said they couldn't find what is happening. They were just trying to encourage him. In May, he too died. Everything finished. Our whole world collapsed. What is this? Kilo Shelek. What is this? What is the explanation? So that's why I said this thing hit the news wave that even the national newspaper, the only single regular national daily, that was Daily Times, carried it first page with his picture and the picture of his brother and telling the whole story. I remember, I would never forget that day in my life because I was sleeping. 5 o'clock in the morning. Normally, you don't wake up 5 o'clock in the morning. Somebody just came in and woke me up roughly. I said, what's happening? Then I woke up, I saw my mother. I was just 6 years old. My mother had collapsed. Everybody was in our eyes. Darkness came to visit us in a bad way. But the darkness that came after this was even worse than the darkness because everybody did. My mother lost her consciousness. She was taken to the hospital. My brother, who was from school, they expelled him from school. Everybody just came. And nobody, we couldn't find anybody. Everybody was saying, run away, run away. Because that is the mentality we have in Africa. This could be happening in one family. 3 prominent, not just, if I had been the one that had died, nobody would have, no problem. If it is my mother who didn't go to school, no problem, let her die. That is no problem. If it had been other ones, Taye who was just 16, or Idowu, or Alaba, all of them who are young, no problem, But the 3 most prominent members of the family. Everybody in Africa knew that is witchcraft right there. Everybody knew, because the father, the head of the family was no more there. When he was there, no problem. So that is the biggest. It just disrupted our family. We couldn't go to school. My mother was in the hospital. That is when this woman at this point was already not working because at a point when because she was working after the husband died. And the work she was doing was to go to the bush and get firewood and do firewood and things like that. So when the children came back from overseas, they came back to tell her, you will never work again. I mean, you've trained up your children, you know, you don't have a husband. So she was not working. She would go and spend time with the Oyibos, they used to call them, with the daughter-in-law and the children. They used to, I mean, she would just go and just spend time with the, you know, take care of the children. And she was not working for like 10 years or 5 years. So I grew up like that, you know, we were not working. She was taking care of me. The junior brother that died, the day morning, would come with the car, take me to school. That's the life we were having that time. But when this happened, she was discharged after 1 year from the hospital. After 1 year. And that 1 year, I was just going, you know, just all over the place, just in the village by myself. Everybody was scared. Then she told me when she came back that, you are the only one left. You are the only one I have now. I don't need to leave, but I have to leave because of you, because Taiwo is in school, Idowu is in school, Alaba, Banjoko have taken care, Idowu, Banjoko has put him in school. You are the only one left here. So I don't have to leave, but because of you, I have to go back to the bush. So my grandmother took me at 6 years old, and we started going back to the bush because she couldn't find any help. She couldn't find anybody. So that's how we started going to the bush again, all over again. I was not aware that she used to go to the bush before. She says, that's what I did before your brothers grew up, and they told me not to work again. Now no help, nothing to fall back. We have to go back to the bush. So we started going back to the bush to cut trees and dry trees. I mean, she's a woman. She had to be cutting trees with cutlass, falling trees, dry the trees. And we started carrying them in the head. She will carry it in her head. I will carry it my own. I mean, from that time, I went to play one day, I lost my shoe. I never wore shoe till I was 14 or 12 or something from that time. But, I mean, there was no time for shoes. I'm going to the bush. That was where I got all my wounds in my legs. If you come show and check my legs now, you will see all the wounds. I have more than 200 scars of wounds in my legs. Because, you know, thorns and thistles and everywhere. I mean, naked, big stomach, no clothes. And this woman was saying, I don't need to do this. I'm too old for this. She was too old for it. But she said, but you need to eat. I don't have to eat. I don't want to live anymore. I'm done. I don't want to live. She said, I'm dead. She said, I don't have any life anymore. All my children are gone. I don't have any life. All my glory is gone. I'm a shame in the community. Nobody wants to see me. I'm a shame. I'm a disgrace. I've become a shame. God has disgraced me. God has decided to shame me. All my work, all my labor is gone. I'm a disgrace. I'm a shame. But because of you, Tieloju. So when I'll be stubborn, she'll be saying Tieloju. What would that mean in English? Tieloju. Yes, it's no. What would that mean? No, what is the English translation? You are just doing literal translation. Tieloju means this only about, I mean, this, what is Tieloju? Can anybody write the meaning of that? It's all about you now. It's just for you. It's just all about you. You know, so don't mess up. But I was not understanding what was happening. I was always angry that why should we be suffering so much? Why? I attempted suicide 3 times. Between the age of that 6 and 13, I attempted suicide 3 times. So I know what, you know, so there was a time that I was telling this story one time of how I came to Nigeria and my sister was begging me on her knees and saying, don't go back to the village. I don't know if you people remember that. She was begging me, please don't go back to the village. Don't go to that village. You know, you can now understand her. So, but what I was telling her, but you are a pastor. I mean, she was a pastor already. And I was saying, You know, how can you now say don't go to the village? She was in Deeper Life. She was in Redeemed. And I said, how can you? But you know what has happened? The memory, the injury, the tragedy that, you know, she had, you know, experienced, and she knows what we have passed through. If you go to Idomila today, you will see the tombs and the burial ground of my mother, my grandmother, that is the son, the first son, the second son, and everybody, all the family members are just beside each other right there. But to make it worse, this was 1973, right? 5 years later, you know, I'm talking about Banjoko, the person who took care of 3 of these my brothers that were left. He died. You know, he was, I mean, this Banjoko was the most prominent and the most wealthy person, not in the, now I was talking about my sister as the wealthiest person in the family. But in the village, the wealthiest person, and this is just a village of 40 houses. So just 40 houses. But it produced such prominent sons. One was Banjoko. Now, I will tell you for another one before Banjoko. Now, Banjoko was the one that was taking care of all the other children. So can you imagine if that my grandmother had needed to take care of these other 3 people that, you know, that Banjoko took care of? It would have been, she was even struggling with me. She couldn't even buy my clothes. For me to buy clothes, no, free education. That's why I will always be grateful to Awolowo, because he brought free education. But I was having free education, but still I was struggling. We needed to go 7 o'clock in the morning, go from Idomila to Ijebode with, you know, with the trees on your head to hug them, to sell it, and, you know, and come back before 8 o'clock so that you quickly go to school by 8 o'clock. And then, but before, for me to buy a biro, I needed to work for a week, carrying every day, carrying this thing in the head. So why, you know, why I couldn't read till 10? I couldn't read till 10 because each time I came back from school, I just put my thread, I mean, or the plate, or whatever they call it, slate, yeah, slate. I put my slate down, and we would go to the bush. We are in the bush till night. I never even knew there was anything they call assignment. I never even knew how to do assignment. I needed to survive. I needed to eat. And when we wake up in the morning, 7 o'clock, I needed to take the tree, go take it to the market in Ijebode from my village, and then run back from that Idomila. I mean, from that Ijebode to Idomila. It's not far, but, and then, you know, go to school. So if in 1 year, I only had 1 uniform, I couldn't change it. When it's done, I needed to work 3 months, all my holiday, every day, 3 months. Some people were going holiday trip to go to Lagos. I needed to work every day, morning, evening, 3 months to buy uniform. I needed to work a week to buy exercise book, or maybe, you know, more. When I was finishing secondary school, we couldn't raise 50 naira to do my WAEC. Because this time, that Banjoko was dead at this time. So anyway, so this, my mother was still alive. Another tragedy struck. The Banjoko, that was the wealthiest. He was one of the wealthiest guys in Nigeria. One of the wealthiest people in Nigeria. I mean, do you know, let me tell you how wealthy Banjoko was. Have you ever, who is from Nigeria? Have you ever heard of, is it Julius Baga you call it? Or is it Julius Baga or Julius Beja? Beja, okay, Julius Beja. Have you ever heard of Julius Beja? That is the biggest construction engineering company in Nigeria, right? That is the biggest engineering construction company. I mean, anything that is worth anything in Nigeria was constructed by Julius Beja. But this Banjoko guy, this man, Banjoko, he was so gifted by God. He was so smart. He was so shrewd that he was competing with Julius Baga in the 70s. How could, it was the biggest indigenous engineering construction company in the whole of Nigeria. This is for Idomila. And because of him, when I was growing up, we had electricity in the village. We had road, we had water. He just did all that by himself. He didn't need to wait for government. So he was competing with Julius Berger. They were sharing 50-50 of federal government contract, Julius Berger, 50% Banjoko. I think they used to call it LAO Banjoko Unlimited or something like that. It was based in Ibadan. Anybody who was in Ibadan that time knew LAO Banjoko in the 70s. Now, this one too, and he was carrying so much load on himself, including my 3 siblings. Then, he just died. He died. Everything just crumbled again. Now, apart from L.A.O. Banjoko, there was another family member who is the Oreshuse. Now, Oreshuse is the same as, Oreshuse is the same as, Oreshuse is the same as Adelaja. But just like, okay, let's say I have 3 children now, right? I have Perez, and I have Zoe and Pearl. Now, Adelaja is the father name, my father name. But when my daughter marries, she gets another name. So the sister of our grandfather, Adelaja, married Oreshuse. So still like the same family. So that Oreshuse had another one son, prominent son. There used to be a company in Nigeria those days in the 50s and 70s, 60s. It used to be called John Holt. John Holt. Now, what is John Holt? John Holt those days used to be during the colonial days and after colonial days. It used, before oil, Nigeria was trading in rubber, kernel, palm oil, cocoa, produce, all those produce, agriculture produce. You know the company that Nigeria was using to sell all these produce to the West? It was John Holt. So John Holt was trading in palm oil. All Nigerian palm oil was being sold by John Holt. All Nigerian palm kernel was being sold by John Knox. Rubber, cocoa, all this before oil. That one, just before the death of that's the same family claim. Yeah. So Oreshuse, he was the head of John Holt in Nigeria. He was the head of the whole thing. So he was so prominent and rich, well-to-do too. But he was a managing director, so he was not like Banjoko, who was a businessman. He was he built his own company. John Holt was an international, multinational company. So he was the head of it in Nigeria. But Banjoko was richer because he was the owner of the whole thing. Now, he died 1 year before all these, my 3 brothers died. Everybody, after Banjoko died, everybody just took off from Ijebu. Everybody just took off from Idomila. Just for you, only very few people remain in the Idomila. Very, very strange things. So for people to say, I don't understand witchcraft, and it's because I've been living in Europe for too long, now you can understand why my sister would not allow me to go to Idomila. So, but I told you the story already. For those people who didn't know the story, when I came back from as a student, I was already born again. Because nobody was born again in Idomila at that time. Now it is now we are talking about being born again. That time, nobody was born again. I mean everybody was homojaye, witchcraft and, So when, after the death of, all these deaths were happening, when the John Hawks guy, Oreshuse, died, and then the 3 people died in 6 months. When my mother came back from the village, from the hospital, we started, you know what she started to do? She started, even though she was an Anglican, and we were all Anglican, everybody was Anglican in that village. You know what she started to do? She started taking all of us from one Babalawo is like witch doctor, from one witch doctor to the other. So when people are talking about deliverance, and when people are talking about witchcraft and you are demon possessed, I said, these are just rubbish. These ones, people who have never left Lagos, people who have never, even gone to a shrine before, they are saying they are demon possessed. Everybody is just falling down, everybody is just playing rubbish. That is not demon possessed. They don't even know what is demon. They are falling apart. So all these things that these pastors are doing, then we are talking about deliverance. Let me talk to you about deliverance. Let me talk to you about demons. Because my mother, she said I would never, because I was naive. I will never bury another child again. So she started taking, other people started, her girlfriend, she had a woman in the village who said, you are stupid. You are a stupid woman. Everybody is calling you a witch now because you didn't fortify your family. You didn't fortify. That is the way our local people think. They didn't know the power of Christ, even though they were Anglicans. But in the Anglican church those days, you are just going there to do traditional, sing some hymns, and the prayers you are praying are prayers that are already written down. So we know what powerless Christianity can cost you. I know what powerless Christianity will cost you. So we were going to Anglican church, but it was powerless Christianity. But why am I also passionate against paganistic Christianity that we are practicing today? Because God has allowed me to know both powerless Christianity and to know the real Christianity, and to also see that this paganistic Christianity is not needed. Because I've been through powerless Christianity, and I know what the difference is, and I know that we can have power-filled, real Christianity without compromise. So what we have done, what Christianity that we are now having is compromise. And they are using black magic and ESP and everything to bring to Christianity. I have been to black magic. Let me tell you what my mother began to do. My mother, I call her my mother, but in reality, she was my grandmother. So my mother said, I will never bury a child again. So because people started telling her, you are foolish. You see, you buried 3 children in 6 months. See, everybody is now saying you are the one who is witch. You better. So they started taking us from one herbalist home to the other, from one witchcraft house to the other. So as you see me now, they will take me, for example, I was just small, like 7 years old, 8 years old. They will take me to the house of Babalis. They will open up incision or something they do, whatever. Somebody would take a babalawo or a witch doctor would take a knife or a blade and cut like this. They say they have to do maybe 40 or 100 or 120 incisions. So they will cut me like this. Like this, cut, throughout the whole head like this, and put charm inside. So just for you to know that I've had encounter with real witch. I'm talking of Ijebu witchcraft. I'm talking of Ijebu Babalawo, not the Lagos and Lagos Island Babalawo. No. Everybody comes to Ijebu. You ask. If you have been to Ijebu in Nigeria, you ask people what is Ijebu. So yes. Despite that, when I received, just for you to know the power of Christ and the power of resurrection, the power of redemption, when I received the Lord Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, when I understood the gospel, when I embraced the truth of the gospel, I didn't need any deliverance. Can you imagine, after all that witchcraft has been put on my head, I still didn't need any deliverance, because the word of God is true. He has carried all our curses. He has carried all our sins. He has carried all our witchcraft, everything. He has paid it. A man of sorrow. He has paid for all our suffering on the cross. But I believed it. So all these things that people are now doing, seeing demons and witchcraft everywhere. Oh, you don't even know how it pains me. And people are believing that this is Christianity. People are believing that this is God. This is the power of God moving. And it is rubbish. It's show. It's an embarrassment. We don't tell people about the power of Christ anymore. I said, despite that, the power of the gospel. Because people don't know anymore the power of redemption. So, because I understood redemption very well, I understood the power of the salvation very well. That was enough for me. Now, let's keep on going. Then they would take me to other herbalists. So one cut off my head, cut open my head like this, and put all the, whatever in some powdered something, shams inside. Another one said, in another one, I'm not talking about the one we are taking in the mouth. Or I'm not talking about the one that they put in your hair, they put under your feet, they put under in your leg, incisions in your legs. This one went and said, bring your spine. Spine. So, no, you see the spine? It will get you from the head, from the top of your head like this, and do another incision. An incision right to your down, and open it up and put other shams inside. I'm not talking about that. Thank you. I'm not talking about the whatever they talk. They talk something. Incantations, yes. I'm not talking about incantations here though. And all these things are under incantations. All kind of incantations. But still, when I received Christ, when Christ came, all those things were just broken, totally defeated. You see, that's why I'm saying, if we will preach real Christ, if we will preach the real gospel, if we will preach the real salvation, that's why I say we have lost the gospel in Nigeria. We have lost the power of God, because the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ is the power of God unto salvation, unto any that will believe. The gospel is the power of God. The gospel is the power of God unto salvation to anyone that will believe. That to anyone. So incantation, I'm not talking about incantation, but let me go beyond that. Like I said, my mother, because she was an Anglican before, and she was not protected. That was her argument. Her children were not protected. And she said this one, maybe God will return my children through, if I could able to protect this one, maybe God will give, I don't know, it will return Kola. They say, maybe Kola will come back. Maybe Demoni will come back through these ones. So she needed to fortify herself. So in the house because she only had one little, like I said, the house that our grandfather built was a big house. But you know what they did in the village? Because she was one room for each wife, because she had 12 wives. So with all your children that you have, 7 or 9 of them, you are only in one room. But this was good because she was all the children were gone. So I was the only one with her. So in that room now, after she came back from that hospital and that experience, she now brought an idol. What do you call it? What do you call it in Yoruba language? An image? Image. A statue. Yeah, a statue. Image. Because they told her, you have to be appeasing that, the gods, yes. You have to be appeasing the god. This is apart from the god the family was now watching. So we went back to, everybody remembered, because they were saying when our grandfather was alive, that these tragedies were not happening. And the god of our family was Ogun. Is it Ogun or Ogun? Something like that. Ogun, I think. Yeah, Ogun was the iron, the god of iron. That is what our family was doing. So the god of iron one, we were doing it as a family just behind the house, going to pour, the oil and the yam and all that. But this other one is Shigidi. This other one was another one. This one was just in my own mother, because all the tragedy was happening around her. So she put it in the corner of the room. And I will be sleeping on the floor right here. And will be anytime anybody is sick or any danger is happening, they have to go and pour oil on the head of that thing in my room, right there in my room. So when people are talking about witchcraft, I say, hey, deliverance. What kind of me? I lived in that room with that jigidi, with that area or whatever, effigi. Yeah, is it effigi you call it in English? I think it's effigi, yeah. I lived with that effigi in the same house. We are breathing in the same air with that effigi like that. I was looking at it every day. Looking at it, and just wondering, is this, I didn't even know what was happening. So I was living in the same house with this thing, and I didn't need deliverance after the gospel was preached to me. After I understand gospel, I didn't need any deliverance. No demon came out of me. And the thing was put inside my head, inside my spine, inside everybody. It's that everywhere. And I didn't need it. So what kind of deliverance are you talking about? So that's why I say it is not so easy for evil spirit, for people to be demon possessed. Even if you are an idol worshiper, it's still not easy. You need incision. Is it incision you call it? You need to be initiation. You need initiation to have demon coming to you. Satan doesn't just come into you like that. You need to be initiated. You need to accept, just like you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. So also you need to accept, to receive a demon inside of you. It's not easy. In fact, you have to even qualify. It's not easy. So when people are just saying they are doing deliverance every day, it is rubbish. It is just confusing everybody. Like I said, there are two different kind of satanic operations on people. Number one is that Satan comes to attack you. What happened in our own family that Satan attacked us? But that doesn't mean that we are demon possessed. And that's why my mother died a depressed woman, my grandmother, because she was under attack, satanic attack. She lost 3 prominent children in 6 months. People were saying she was demon possessed. People were calling her witch. Because people don't know the difference. People think that if all these things are happening to her, that we were bewitched. We were bewitched, yes? But that means you are under attack, under satanic attack, but that doesn't mean that you are the carrier of evil spirit. It is other people or other forces that are using evil spirit to destroy you. You are the victim. And we are supposed to be standing on the side of the victim. But in my country, even in churches now, they make you look as if you are the one that is demon possessed. You are the one that needs deliverance. So there are 3 operations of Satan. One is Satan's attack, satanic attack. Satanic attack is like you are standing there and attack is coming against you, throwing things at you. Yeah. So you are the victim. So this is the first operation of Satan, and Satan attacks all of us. I've already given you, and I finished it yesterday, 7 greatest weapons of satanic attacks. Now, satanic attack is not always killing you or making you to die. That is the last level, because Satan comes to steal first, to kill. And kill doesn't mean to kill physically. It's destroy that then kills. It might kill your potential. It might kill your promises. Your potential, your ability. It might kill your, that is, it comes to steal, kill, and destroy. It is the destroying level that it destroys you. So those are just attacks. Now, that is the first level of Satan's operation. The second level of Satan's operation is oppression. So oppression is a demon is attached to you, not just to attack you from the distance, but a demon is attached to you to be on you. So that demon will be suppressing you like this. That demon will be suppressing you. So you will be having bad mood, but you will not know how to find. You will not have clarity in your mind. You are losing projection. You are losing direction. He's just oppressing you. Depression, oppression. Now that is the second level, or the second nature of satanic operation. Now, so that is also not possession, even though that, even if you look at her in the spirit, you will see a demon sitting on her shoulder like this, or on her head like this, or coming to sit on her and oppressing her. But that doesn't mean that she is demon possessed as well. That is just demonic oppression. And there is a difference between all these things. So when you bring people who might be under demonic oppression like this, and and they put them in, those people are normally have some people might have intense one, and they have mental situation or psychiatric situation, and we put them in the hospital, in psychiatric hospital and things like that, and we say they are they are demon possessed. But because it's just under oppression, not everybody that is in psychiatric hospital or having mental situation is demon possessed. Most of them are not demon possession, they are demon oppression. It's oppression in the mind. It's oppression. So that's why when they take them to the hospital, they can heal them. They can cure them. They can make them to stop hearing the voices. Even people who hear voices, that doesn't mean it's inside of them. It could be on their shoulder, on just oppressing them by talking to them. That's why they could heal hallucination or what they call it. Hallucination could be healed by doctors and things like that because it is from outside. But demon possession is another ball game altogether. Demon possession is when you are initiated into the whole thing. You are initiated, you give up your will and receive the evil spirit to come and indwell in you. So when people are now saying that Christians are demon possessed, every day you go to church, pastors want to cast out demon from choir members. Every day you go to church, they want to cast out demons from either choir members or usher group. Everywhere they want to cast out demon every day. People have been coming to church every day. Oh, they didn't have demon. Now she said, oh, I have problem. She's now we have a demon possessed. Someone has been in that choir for ages. Oh, no demon. But it does say, I don't have children or I have miscarriage. Now they have a demon again. So the kind of gospel, the way people preach the gospel these days is just discrediting God. Now, so what about the question of can Christians be demon possessed? Let me say, it is possible somebody that calls himself Christian could be demon possessed, but let me tell you on the occasion that it could happen. For somebody to say is a Christian and demon possessed, let me tell you what has to happen. For that person to be demon possessed means you have been initiated into witchcraft or into communion or fellowship with demons of spirits, and you have to willingly surrender your will and yourself under the dominion and superiority of those demons, just like you surrendered your heart to Christ. So for you to have gone to that extent, you have to first of all turn your back intentionally at Christ, and knowingly now say, I'm now receiving this evil spirit as my Lord and Savior, to come and live in me. Now, can people still have that and come to church? If they are really subtle or evil, they could do that. But it is on rare occasion for someone who is really born again, who loves God, who has personal relationship. One has to go out before another one comes in. That's what I'm trying to say. You understand what I'm saying? One has to come in for another one. So, and most people who are demon possessed, they cannot stay where there is real anointing of God. Believe me. For example, anywhere I come into now, if anybody is demon possessed there, or I'm not talking about people who are oppressed, or that is different. But if Satan is living inside you, as soon as I appear anywhere, it has happened in Holland, in Amsterdam, it has happened in Belarus, it has happened in Ukraine, anywhere it has happened in Africa, it has happened in America, it has happened in Latin America, in Mexico, anywhere I go, it has happened in Australia. I don't even need to know anything, I'm not even aware. I just come. Anybody that they begin to check by themselves. And once I just say, in the name of Jesus, come out of her. 2 seconds, they just come out and they're okay. So all this show that people are now doing in the church, to 1 hour casting out of demons, for everybody rolling up and down, and I don't understand though. These people are just making a mess and a show of the gospel, and I don't know what they are doing. So somebody is saying, do you have scriptures to back? Oh, I have so many scriptures. You will be tired. Come back tomorrow. But today I'm just telling my story, my family story most of the time, and I'm wrapping it up now. But when it comes to scriptures, this is going to last. Today is just the beginning, just number 1. I am going to be talking about this for the next, I'm going to be talking about this for the next maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks of demonic, of how Satan operates, Satan's, what do you call it? Understanding Satan, yes, and his operations. I'm going to have so many scriptures for you and you'll be tired. So it's going to be every day. I'm going to be continuing this situation. So remember that there are 3 levels of Satan's attack. One is attack, just attack like this, like he attacks all of us. And I've already spoken on the 7 greatest weapons of his attack. Number 2 is oppression, demonic oppression. Number 3 is demon possession. And the demon possession is very rare. There are places where it's common, but it is not easy. Satan cannot just come and possess you without you knowing. That's what I'm saying. Satan cannot just come and possess you and you are not even aware. Satan's possession happens just like Jesus' possession happens. Like, for example, for Jesus to come and live in your heart, you need to accept him as your Lord and Savior. You need to, open up to him. The same thing with Satan. For Satan to come into you, he will not just come without your will. God has given everybody a free will. Even God himself will not violate that will. Even God himself cannot just come to your heart without your knowledge. God doesn't behave like that. Even Satan cannot behave like that. That's why when Satan came in Genesis chapter 3, he had to talk to Eve first. Is it true that God said this? Without a permission, without convincing her first, he cannot have any free will like that. He cannot just come and make her do anything. He has to get your will to cooperate and to accept. That is how Satan could come into you. And Satan cannot just come into anybody like that, because you have to go through a process. And it's a complex process for you to be demon possessed. So for people to be saying because you had a dream and you had a sex scenario or sex dream and a sexual something dream, and then they are saying you have Mami water spirit, give that pastor a dirty slap. Maybe not physically, but let him know that you are not such a fool. And for somebody to say, okay, because you cannot have children, then it means you have husband, spiritual husband. Give the ignorant pastor a dirty, just chase him out of town. So a lot of things that pastors are now doing is just a disgrace. It's just a disgrace. Well, I know that maybe people might have questions. I'm going to open the line now. Yeah, I'm going to open the line for telephone. So if you want to call, maybe you want to ask some questions or you want to contribute to what I'm saying, please go ahead and go to Facebook Messenger. We call here through Facebook Messenger. Go to Facebook Messenger. It's called Move Agents. Move, one word, Move Agents. Move Agent Matic. And you can write. Don't just call. Just write and say that you would like to call. And we will tell you when you are ready to receive your call. But while we are waiting for the calls, let me show you the next project that I'm releasing on Sunday. We have all these projects. You remember I was asking you for if anybody knows how to do video graphics and video editing, we need you. Please, if you know how to do video editing and video graphics now, please go right now in the comment. Please, Maya, follow the comment. Anybody that knows how to do video graphics and video editing, please, I need your help. We need you to help us, with some projects that we are releasing. I've released, projects like DSA Philosophy, DSA Thoughts, DSA Innovation, DSA Values. And now this is the 5th one we are releasing to you. It's going to be called Pastoral Nuggets. Pastoral Nuggets, Pastoring Without Tears. So let me show you this video clip while we are expecting the calls from all of you, please.
Is it easy to be a successful pastor? How challenging is the pastoral ministry for you? These days, becoming a pastor in Africa has transitioned from being a calling to a challenging business assignment that demands manipulation, tricks, and cheating to survive and prevail on the pulpit.
And you pastors don't have to compromise. You don't need to go to the native doctors. You don't need to go to witches. You don't need to manipulate things. You don't need to do the wrong things to be successful. I've been successful as a pastor. Our church and my ministry has been regarded as one of the top most successful ministries in the world, without using witchcraft, without manipulating, without using ESP, without craze about doctrines, without preaching paganistic gospel. You could still be successful and still do the right thing and still make it.
Can you pastor God's way? Can you carry this burden without secretly shedding tears?
Jesus says that His yoke and his burden, they are easy and light. When he calls us to ministry, he doesn't intend for us to have a burden that is too heavy on us, or the yoke that we cannot bear. So the first thing to do to become a pastor without tears is to know for sure that you are called to pastoral ministries. If you are not sure about it, just be a believer where you are. Discover your other passions and begin to realize them and begin to fulfill God's calling upon your life in other areas of life other than pastoring. But if you want to pastor, please make sure you know God is leading you. Number 2, you need to learn how to just practice casting that burden back to God, returning the burden back to God. You know, your role as a pastor is to make sure that you see what the Father wants to do. Once you see what God does, you just only repeat what he does. So that's the secret of the of success in the ministry of Jesus. The idea is to duplicate what heaven is already doing. The idea is to duplicate what the Father is already doing. To be a pastor without tears.
If you found this video useful, please tag all pastors you know in the comment section below. DSA's Pastoral Nuggets, Principles and Words of Wisdom for Ministers and Laity. By Dr. Sunday Adelaja, Senior Pastor and Founder of Embassy of God Church. Join us live on Facebook every Sunday, 7 a.m. UK and Nigerian time.
Well, that is the new project coming this Sunday. It's going to be 7 a.m. Nigerian time, 7 a.m. British time. So this is the latest project that I'm releasing on Sunday. It's going to be Sunday, 7 a.m. It's just going to be 20 minutes video, but then we are going to be doing it every week. But we need editors. So if anybody knows how to edit video, or you know how to do graphics on video graphic, please write there right now. Or you want to learn how to do it, please just write in the comments section that you want to, and we will be willing to teach you. And you just need as many people as possible to help us in this. And for those people who want to come to Ukraine, we have the next program, HMT program in Ukraine in November this year, from the 5th to the 12th of November. So please go ahead and register. The way to register is to go to my blog, sundayadelajahblog.com/visit. sundayadelajahblog.com/visit. So sundayadelajahblog.com. Now we are receiving the calls. Hello, David. How are you today?
Hello, fine. Good evening, sir.
Yes. How did you find my story today?
Pastor, in short, this is the second time I'm listening to this story, and each time I listen to it, I always drop tears because they really look like my life story also, but that will be for another day. But now, sir, the truth is that, please, I want to beg everybody on this platform, let's go and invite as much people we want to this platform, because this is the new movement that God is bringing to take many Africans from bondage. So this is my appeal to everybody that is watching, that is listening to DSA right now. Now, Pastor, I want to ask something. There's a day I was conducting, I come to church, and we are having a program. And when the worship session, some people started shivering, and further, and before I get to them to pray for them, the person started speaking and said, I possessed her when she was in her mother's womb, this, blah, blah, blah. Though what me I just do, I just go there and pray for the person. Though she come, and then I go back to the pulpit to start my message. What can you say to that, sir? Please, I need more clarification in that area. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you so much. I've already spoken about that one time. People cannot be possessed from their mother's womb. That is African story. It's stories that people tell in Africa. People can be dedicated to Satan or to spirits. People can be, is it dedicated? Dedication, right? Dedicated to, you know, just like Samuel was dedicated to God. So somebody can be dedicated from their mother's womb, or even before their mother's womb, to serve Satan or to demonic forces, but they will not be possessed yet. So after they are born and they are going to be 7 or 8 years old, when they already know what's going on, then they could be initiated. They still need to be initiated. It is after the initiation that Satan can now, evil spirit can now enter into them through their own will. Their will has to be involved before they could be demon possessed. So when they are telling you those things, just throw them and know that that guy is just coming to do drama. Hello, Dupe.
Hello.
Nice to hear your voice today.
Good evening, sir.
Yes.
I didn't actually know that I would get through to you. I just want to, contribute a little bit that I experienced when I was going to one of this Redeemed church. I was made a welfare officer, and I saw this lady with a very big abdomen, and I just thought, this is, and she kept on saying, I don't know why. Is the line clear? Because I'm
very clear. Go ahead.
Okay, and I said, when I say her tummy was quite distended, we're talking about maybe you would think she's about 6-7 months pregnant, and I said, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to go and see a specialist?
Just be faster. Be faster, please, because there are so many calls coming on.
So I told her to go and see a specialist, but the following day, I think she told the pastor, and the pastor said he wanted to see me. So I went to see him, and to my surprise, he said I shouldn't give that sort of counsel again ever. That even if I want to tell the woman anything, it has to be him. That because he's already found out the cause. It was because the woman has a bird in his stomach that she's using that to affect the husband, and that's why the husband haven't progressed. And so and that was that.
A bird that she's having a bird.
Advise her to go to the hospital.
This was was this in Africa or in Europe?
Over here.
In England.
About 5 years ago.
In England.
In England. In where I live in Enfield.
So a woman having, that is cancer. Most likely that is cancer. The woman is having.
Pastor, it might even be fibroid.
Yeah, or fibroid. So yes. she's someone is sick.
That's what I thought. And eventually that woman, when you see her now, she's still going about, because they said she's got a bird inside her to harm the family. Our own family. I mean, our own immediate family. That's why the husband haven't got a prominent, permanent job and all this rubbish. I mean, eventually, I just left the place. That redeemed
pastor doesn't belong in the pulpit. She belongs in jail.
Honestly.
That redeemed pastor belongs in jail, not in the ministry. He needs to be jailed. That's what I'm talking about. That all this explanation of demonic depossession everywhere, left, right, and center, everything is demonic. I told you my story now. I was sleeping in the same room with effigy, with idol. I was sleeping in the same room with idol, and yet I didn't have to have deliverance. I didn't have to have people casting out demons from me. It's not as easy to be demon possessed as that, guys. This is what these pastors are doing. They are just telling us a bunch of lies. Hello, Yomi.
Hello, Dr. Sunday, sir. Good afternoon.
Nice to hear your voice.
Yes, sir. Thank you for today's teaching, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to give this comment, sir. People are asking, give us scriptural backups, give us Bible passages, and this one question came to my mind, like, okay, we want to put all the jobs, all the works on Dr. Sunday. All the Christians, almost 90% of Christians have Bibles on their own.
Yeah.
Go back home and do your personal research. Read the scriptures by yourself. The Bible says, study to show yourself approved unto God, a workman that needs not to be ashamed. I'm just thinking, okay, if the way we are asking scriptural passages and all of us are going back to make research and come and discuss it, that would be good. But saying, oh, give us scriptural passages, give us all the scriptural passages we'll be using, quoting, pastor giving us in Nigeria. Has it brought any end to poverty? But when it comes to witchcraft and devil and possession, people want pastors that will keep giving them Bible passages so that when they want to pray, they will begin to quote those scriptures. When are we Christians going to grow and be mature? The Bible says we should grow unto maturity. See, it is when we don't understand the concept of salvation, the power of redemption, that will begin to hide under somebody like, okay, give us scripture. If Dr. Sunday didn't give you scripture passages, won't you grow and mature to the level that God expects you to get to? It just baffles me. Colossians chapter 1, verse 12 to 13 says, giving thanks to the Father who has qualified you to share in the inheritance of the saints in the kingdom of light. For he has rescued us from the dominion of darkness and brought us into the kingdom of the Son he loves, in whom we have redemption and the forgiveness of sin. Chapter 2 verse 13 says, when we were dead in our sins and in the circumcision of our sinful nature, God made you alive with Christ. He forgave us our sins, having cancelled the written code with its regulations that was against us and that stood up opposed to us. He took it away, nailing it to the cross. Having disarmed the powers and the authorities of darkness, he made a public spectacle of them, triumphing over them by the cross. If you already know that you are on the winning side, then all these battles, all these demons, all these things, they will mean nothing to you. And I want to state this fact, this truth, that nothing can possess you without your permission. Unless you permit something to possess you, they cannot possess you. Unless you willingly give yourself to it, they can. Demon cannot just come and say, I'm demon, I want to get into you. No, it's not possible. It can. See what the Bible says. The Bible says the devil roars like a lion. That is what he's doing, roaring, getting you scared, making you to be a chicken Christian, so that you will be running etasketa. Hey, go to this mountain, go and collect anointing oil. Use this handkerchief as your pillow. Use this thing. That's just like incision. That's like babalawo stuff. We are trying to hide anointing oil in our bed, pour it on the corner of our room, put this handkerchief on your door so that therefore when he knocks, he won't be able to come in. What are those? Are those Christianity? No. The power of God is already in you. He has already given you the power. In Luke 10:19 says, I have given you authority to triumph. Do we know what triumphant means? To triumph over scorpion, over serpent, over the power of darkness, and nothing, absolutely nothing shall by any means hurt you. Hey, witches and wizards are very least in the kingdom of darkness. Even their father, devil, is less. He's afraid of you. When he sees you, he should be afraid of you, not you being afraid of darkness. We are light, we are children. So go back and study. Everybody, Christian, do your own work. Do your own work. Dr. Sunday is doing his own work. He's trying his best. You go and do your own work. Then when you don't understand the place, bring it to him. Sir, I read this place, I can't understand. Then he will be able to shed more light. Stop asking for all those scriptural backup. Go and make research on your own. We are all Christians. We are expected to grow too. That is all my contribution, sir.
Brilliant, brilliant. Let me contribute to what you just said about 1 Peter 5:7-9, that Satan is walking about like a roaring lion, seeking who he may devour. But he said it's not, you quoted it, but I want to finish it. It says, seeking who to devour. So Satan is still seeking. So without your permission, he cannot devour you. And without your permission, and your permission comes through fear, your permission comes through faith, when you believe in it, when you are afraid of it, or when you are afraid of it, or when you give up your will. So Satan cannot possess you without coming. He comes, first of all, to seek for permission. He goes about looking for. It means he cannot just be everywhere. So that's why is it that the whole world is an unbeliever? All of us were unbelievers. Everybody in the world is an unbeliever, or apart from people who are saved, but they are not demon possessed. And when we all got saved, we didn't all need deliverance. Why? Satan cannot just possess anybody like that. So that's why he's seeking. He's seeking, and when he's seeking, it means he needs your permission before he will be able to hurt you or to take place of being possessing you. Like now, I spoke about my village, right? I've told the story. That's why I didn't finish the story today, that I went back to that village as a Christian. I was not the pastor yet. But I went back to the village and I made the whole village kneel down on their face and receive the Lord Jesus Christ. I started going back to the village, no problem. Even though my sister was begging me not to go. But when I now knew who I was in Christ Jesus, with the authority in the blood of Jesus, I will talk the story. You know, like I said, today was just the introduction. Every day I will be coming to, you know, to tell this my story and to also tell you how to overcome any satanic oppression and attack. Okay, Faith. Hello, Faith. Hello, Faith.
Okay, hello, sir.
Put off the Facebook.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Put off the Facebook, please.
Hello, sir.
Yes. Put off the Facebook before
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Go ahead and speak.
Hello?
Go ahead and
are you hearing me, sir?
Put off the Facebook
Hello?
and talk.
Hello?
I think she doesn't know how to use this something. When you are calling name, you have to put on the Facebook. You don't talk through Facebook. You talk through Facebook Messenger. It's different from Facebook. So you have to put up the live Facebook. My voice, you've got to put off my voice and use Facebook, Messenger to call. And be listening to me, not through the voice that is coming through Facebook Live, because it's always coming late. You've got to listen to me through Facebook Messenger. That's where you can talk like telephone. Hello, Joyce.
Hi, Dr. Sunday. Good afternoon from here.
How are you? How is New York?
New York is good. Thank you, Dr. Sunday and Dr. Sunday's family. I greet you all in Jesus' name.
Yes, thank you.
Dr. Sunday, you actually made me cry today when you were telling your story. Like, I felt so emotional. I was drawn out completely, And from your own perspective and from the part that you were coming from while narrating your story, look at who you are today. Look at how you've become today. I'm not even talking financially now. I'm talking about the knowledge that you have right now. Okay, so imagine what they have subjected us in Nigeria.
Yes.
Before I came to America, there is this particular prayer house, like it's a gathering though. So somewhere around the flat, our house where we live. So, and usually I'm the kind of person that loves to be around the gathering of God's people. So my neighbor invited me, and willingly I was happy because it's a gathering of God's people, so why not? I have to be there. And we got there, I took my Bible and we went. My first experience there, Dr. Sunday, you will not believe. It got to a point now that in Nigeria, some churches are praying against people through photographs. They tell you to bring the photograph of your relative in Europe, in America, wherever they are. Even those that have forgotten you, bring their photograph. We are going to command them to come back. We are going to command them to send you money. We are going to come. And I'm like, really? What is this? Somebody is there in whatever country the person is, you don't know the situation the person is going through. Now you're going to be using the person's photograph.
Witchcraft. That is witchcraft. That is witchcraft.
Sunday. I know it is witchcraft. And you see people, women, and Dr. Sunday, women fall victim of this thing. Married women, mothers are the ones that fall victims of this thing. You see them bringing the pictures of their husband, pictures of their children, pictures of all their family members. And I sat very far back in the congregation, and a lot of things were going through my mind. The first question I asked myself, so what God are they praying to? Because the God that I know wants to protect everybody. He wants you to succeed. He doesn't want anyone to dominate another person. So why are you praying this kind of prayer? This is witchcraft. I angrily took my Bible and left. And when I was going, the woman saw me leaving and she sent someone to follow me and call that sister. And I came in. He said, you see, your star is bright. And I came and I said to her, you are calling me? And she said, yes. said, I want to prophesy to you. I said, sorry, I am going to work. I'm late for work. And I turned back. The next thing I heard was that she has a demon. She's possessed. That's why she cannot stand the fire of God here. She has left and she is possessed. She has a demonic spirit. Some people came to tell me, and I'm like, I'm just so sorry for them. You know. So the point I'm making is, we allow people to use us like animals, to use our brain. In Nigeria, the problem Nigerians have today is not just for the men of God alone. We won't be blaming them alone. I would say 70% of the blame should go to the people. Why? Because they don't want to study the Bible. They don't want to read the Bible. They don't want the knowledge. They don't want to understand what God is teaching. They don't want to hear the truth. All they want is to solve their problem. All they want is to make quick solutions to their problem. And if you are that kind of person, trust me, you will fall in their trap. If you are that kind of person that is always solution seeker, you are going to fall in their trap. Tell me, how can a devil or a demon possess you without your permission? The Bible says that. But you are let me even take you in the book of Ephesians chapter 2 verse 10. I was just reading a while ago, and I remember I quickly brought it out. It said, for we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works. So if you are created, number one, on that first line, if you are created for good work, don't you think that you are even more powerful than the devil? In the spiritual realm, you are more powerful than the spiritual. The reason why they cannot operate with you, they come through your dream to attack you. Like you said, they come through fear. They come through attack, oppression, and all of that. They do all of these things to subject you, to subdue you, to make you fear, to tremble, so that you begin to confess and accept all the things that they've shown you in the dream. And once you're doing that, you're already conforming. You are agreeing to their comment. And that's when they can begin to oppress you.
Thank you, Joyce. Other callers are coming in now.
Will sit down.
Thank you so much, Joyce. Thank you. We need to get other callers in now. Many people are calling. And that is so nice what Joyce is saying. That is the truth. And, you know, I will tell the story. Maybe tomorrow I will tell the story, or one of these days I will tell the story of what happened when I went to the village. My arrival, my return to the village. Then I discovered that actually I didn't even... If they are demons or they are witch and wizard in that village, I didn't know. I couldn't find them anymore. Maybe they were not even there in the first place. Faith. Faith put off the Facebook. Faith put off the Facebook. She's the same lady that called the first time. She didn't put up the Facebook again. So we've got to call another person. So for those people, those of you, please, let's go and share this message. Let's go and, maybe some people would like to know my story. Let's go share the message. Hello, Aisha.
Hello, Jesse. How are you doing today?
Well. You had my story today.
Oh, my God. So, I just want to say thank you so much for being so clear, so truthful, so real. Nowadays, every pastor is perfect. Every pastor has a perfect life. But thank you for being a difference. I mean, hearing your story, make me feel so pity for myself, because I used to think I have a tough life. But when I heard your story, you had the most toughest life ever. But I now see why you live the way you live. And I now see the purpose in the problems that you have. Because you have all those problems, all those experiences, so you can now teach us and bring the light. So when it comes to these deliverances nowadays in Africa and in these churches and all those cinema they're doing, I really think that they just put it up. It's a made up things that they do, made up deliverance, made up. They pay people to accept to go through that. I feel like 80% of those deliverances and demon possessed is just to advertise for people to feel like, okay, this church has power, I have to go there. Ignorant people, it's to call ignorant people to their church. It's not really is not really real, you know. So I just want to thank you, DSA, for bringing the light on those things and to just being the light among of this generation. And I'm really excited about the new video that was just released about pastors. So new generation of pastors can really learn how to become a true disciple of Christ and how to become a pastor. So thank you so much, DSA, for being the light. Thank you.
Thank you, Aisha. I appreciate that. That is good. And by the way, yes, that is a series I'm going to be doing for pastors and for Christians and for ministers, people who want to be pastors. We need to raise up new generation of pastors. And for people to know that I'm not against pastors. I want pastors to be successful. And that series is going to be talking about how to be a pastor of biblical pastor, not the kind of thing that we're used to over there. Hello, Emeka.
Good evening, DSA.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Wonderful work, sir. Wonderful message. And I want to give a shout out to the team behind it. Those guys are doing a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. The reason why I'm calling this evening is I just want to just share a part of what I have experienced. Like your story, I've experienced something a little similar to that. But the Lord delivered me when the Lord began to teach me. Hello, sir, are you there?
Very well. We are hearing you clearly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because you know, at a point in my life, I was taking from one pastor, one prophet, one person to another. You know, and even when I began to walk with God and I began to know about God, I found out that every time you go there, they tell you something about you ate this morning and you drank this morning and you are putting on so color of underwear and this is what you did last week. But there was something that fascinated me, that these people, none of them could ever tell you what God is doing in your life. They can't see that level.
Wow.
They don't know that.
Wow.
They don't know. Yeah, they do not know. You know, they do not know. Ask them. Okay. They will tell you, God said you should marry so person. But ask them, why did God say that? What is God's plan for my life? They shut down. They will tell you, that is beyond us. You know, it was then I was able to, in my spirit, to separate the charlatans from the true prophet. And the Lord began to tell me, Emeka, listen, a prophet is not somebody who has word of knowledge. Anybody can tell you about the past, present, future. A prophet is somebody who, through his life, I am doing a work in his own days. And if you look across the scripture, Jeremiah, Isaiah, even Abraham, God was doing the true test of a prophet is a man that God is telling, using that man's life to tell a story or to do a work in his own days. Not somebody who can give you word of knowledge. Anybody, any herbalist, any charlatan, anybody can give you word of knowledge. Anybody can mimic, you know, just like they did to Moses back then. Any of these who can mimic the gifts of the Holy Spirit. But the true test of a prophet is sitting down and asking, sir, ma, what is God doing on the earth presently in our own days? And then they shut down, they can't tell you anything. So I just wanted to share, it was then that the Lord began to teach me that. And it really upgraded my spirit to move from the level of the sons of the prophet, and it quelled my desire or my need for the miraculous and for the for the supernatural, and to seek God more, to seek his will more, and understand what the Father is doing on the earth now. And for example, look at you, DSA, look at what you are doing. Look at how your life is reshaping or bringing out some things. It's clear that the hand of the Lord is upon you and it's upon your team. You are doing a work for God. So I don't respect you because of the books you wrote. I don't respect you because of the word of knowledge. I don't respect you because of the anointing. I respect you because your life is telling a story like Abraham, like Esther, like Paul, like me. He's telling a story of what God is doing on the earth presently. So my brothers and sisters, I just want to say, please don't be carried away by any man that has a gift. If you want to test any spirit, ask them. For example, if you ask Paul in his own days, Paul will tell you, the Lord is breaking down the wall between Jews and Gentiles. That is the work God has given us. That is the foundation I have laid. You understand? And Paul will not tell you because I raised the dead, because I can speak in tongues. Those were extra things. So let's not be carried away by that. The true essence of a man's ministry is that man's life is an expression of what God is doing on the earth presently. That is what I call a prophet. Beautiful. So that's what I want to contribute to.
Beautiful.
Thank
you. Good job. Now, what Emeka just said is profound, because some of those things we are seeing, those pastors, all those pastors that are telling you the color of your underwear, your address, and you know what is going to happen, something bad, it is called familiar spirit. It is called familiar spirit, and I'm still going to talk about that. How do you know familiar spirit? What is familiar spirit? How do you detect familiar spirit from the word of God and from the word of knowledge? How do you know the right word of knowledge from the wrong word of knowledge? How do you know the Spirit of God? If it is the Spirit of God speaking through a man, or it is a demonic spirit speaking through a man. I'm going to break all those things down. I'm going to break those things down every day, every evening. I'm going to be coming back to talk about it. Hello, Eze.
Hello, good evening, dear sir.
Where are you calling from, sir?
I'm calling from UK, London.
Okay, we are glad to hear your contribution today.
Yeah, I want to appreciate the work you are doing in our lives and in the nation and all over the world.
Thank you.
There is a change since you came to the limelight. I want to tell you that there is a big change, and then I can see the hand of God in whatever you are doing.
Thank you.
It's quite difficult to know the lesson on deception on pastors. You can see that it's very difficult now to see the pastor, the first pastor that we can say will cast the first stone. I pray you keep it up. As I said the other time, there is fire on the mountain. And every pastor, every deceptive pastor is what I said to them is wrong.
They should pick.
Thank you for the work you are doing.
They should pick.
And my first question will be this.
Okay.
Hardly these days, am I hearing?
Yes.
Yeah. Hardly these days you walk into any church here in London or in Nigeria that you will not see any pastor that will be preaching laying emphasis on deliverance each month or each week, emphasis on tithe, on prosperity. I feel so scared now. How do we know the safe and true place of worship one can walk in and worship comfortably?
Beautiful, Eze. Now, I don't know if you have listened to my series. I have 15 messages on Is Your Church a Cult? I have a whole series on Facebook, on YouTube. You go to my YouTube page, and maybe Facebook, YouTube page, which is Sunday Adelaide Official, or SoundCloud, or Telegram. You will see I have 15 messages. And the series is, how do you know if your church is a church or a cult? So it's called, is your church a cult or a church? So you go and look for it as it is there. It is, all those things are broken down for you to know, is your church a cult or is a church? It's called, Is Your Church a Cult? That is the series on YouTube, on Facebook, and on SoundCloud as well. Hello, man. Oh, look, who is calling? This is Wole Banjoko that is calling right here. You know, that is my cousin that I'm talking about. That, the father. That is, this is my life witness right here. So you just thank God for calling. Thank God.
Good evening, Pastor. I am calling from London. So everybody in the world can, just to confirm what Pastor Sunday has told today. I didn't get to hear all the all of the conversation today, but just to confirm, I am one of the Banjoko family. I'm one of the children of the late Chief Elio Banjoko that he was talking about, and the incident that happened as concerns my uncle Kola, Uncle Demori, and my auntie in Nigeria. This was a big story in the 70s. Pastor Sunday, I think, like I told you, I think your life story is incredible. It is just only God that can show you that anybody that can, no matter where you're born in or what you're born into, how if you focus on the Word of God and live what God teaches and what God wills, everything is possible. So Pastor Sunday's life, your life is definitely a true example of that. And a living witness of everything that you have said. It affected me as well. It affected my family when my father died, when Uncle Kola died. Uncle Kola, even when they came to Nigeria, when they first moved in, they were living with us. Actually, there in Bodija, I remember this is one of the incidents of the early deaths that I experienced in in our family. After my mother died in 1970, I think Onkola was either 72 or 73, I can't remember correctly. But I was there, and at that time I think I was 8 years old. So, and then my other uncle and auntie, these were early deaths before my father died in 78. And even after this, we still had some other deaths in the family. I would say even within me, there's 6 of us, or there were 6 children. And right now, there's only 2 of us left. So we've already lost another 4 people in the family. But even with that, there's still no other person that I believe more in than God and the Word of God.
Yes.
Because people can still say that even with this incident that had happened, that you can, there's other bigger power. There's no bigger power than the Word of God. There's no other God. Jesus Christ. Like I said, this incident happened before. There's still incidents within the family that can make one even doubt if God exists.
Yes.
So I stand with no other but the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Thank you, Pastor Sunday. Thank you for your word across the world.
Wow.
You're reaching a lot of people. You're exposing the devil as a liar. And that the word of God is true. We shall continue to stand as a family and only trust in that. So no evil shall come against, any evil that comes against this hour, even whatever happens, we still believe that Jesus Christ is Lord. So that is my faith, and that is what we believe in. And thank you. Just thank you for your word. Thank you for reaching out to the world. Thank you for teaching us all that you are doing. And we just love you, and we continue to respect the word of God that comes out of your mouth in Jesus' name.
What better confirmation can you have? What better confirmation? See, this is it right here. This is it right here. Thank God for putting it on his heart to call today. You see, this is it right here. So you will know that when I'm passionate about this gospel and when I'm talking the truth, even though we have gone through this kind of losses, what he said, after even the death of his dad, how many losses you cannot even believe it. How many deaths still happen. But this is all because we didn't know him. But after knowing him, we shouldn't put people under the fear of Satan again. If you really know this God, if we know this God, let's get to know the real God. Once you know the real God, there is no room anymore to be manipulating everybody and putting them under the fear of Satan again. Especially when there is no Satan anywhere. When Satan has been defeated. This happened to us when we were ignorant. In the time of ignorance, God, has forgiven the time of ignorance. And this happened during the time of ignorance. Now that we have known the Lord, now that people in Nigeria are all Christians all over, they are now making Christ to look as if he's powerless. They are now making everybody to think as if we should fear Satan again. No, Satan doesn't have any power. I am the one saying it. And me that have suffered all these things, I'm still saying that Satan is powerless. Hello, David. Okay, this is another family member here. You are another witness. I don't know, maybe you are too small when all these things, but you should know the stories.
I was small, sir.
But you should know the stories now. You had all the stories.
Yeah, they told me.
Okay. Yes, this is another family member here.
I heard the story. It was a tragedy I heard. And with all this witchcraft and everything, we all had shared of it. You knew what happened to my grandma and everything anyway.
Yes.
Thank you for your life, sir. Thank you. God bless you multiple times for showing us light and the proper direction. Please,
I want you to, David.
Yes, sir.
Wait. Because some people might not know which David is this. This is now. Okay. Now I'm talking. This is my own father's side that I spoke about. That is Adelaja, right? But my grandmother's side is Awolano. That is my mother's side. That is in another village. Ikoto is called. Now that's the same Ijebu area. Now in Ikoto there, the mother's side is Awolano. That is my mother was Awolano. My grandmother was Awolano, but she married Adelaja. So Awolano remained there now. So Awolano, the son of Awolano, which my grandmother's brother, he retained the name of Awolano, right? So he married a lady that was already having a son and brought up that son as Fumilayo Dairo, later changed the name to Badejo when he got to know who his father, real father was. Now, so when all these deaths were taking place, two people were tagged as witches that were killing all of them. The wife of that Awolana, my grandmother's brother, that is the grandmother of this guy that is calling now, of David now. And the father, who was adopted by my cousin uncle, now everybody started saying he was bewitched, and he said that is so. Tell us how everybody was saying Mama Elisha was a witch. Tell them this whole story, and they were even your mother believed it, and everybody was running away from this poor woman. Everybody was running away, just like they were running away from my grandmother. They were running away from the grandmother, and David. They were saying don't go to visit her. But I said, is it not the same grandmother who was feeding you, who was taking care of you? Tell us the story.
The story was a very sad one, because there was a program then. They called the program or something like that. My grandmother's story was the first story the man used to start when he started the program.
Wow.
Like the witch or whatever.
A religious program, eh? Some
people. Yeah, that was way back in Ibadan. I think the man is dead now. They call him Olawi. The man is late now, but it was a story that he used when he started the program and everything. Like the witches and stuff. Still tomorrow, some people still believe that and everything, but I don't know. I just thank God for your life, for this light and way out. And I told you what my sister said. I mean, she's late now, but thank God she said those things, and thank God for the blog you started and everything. And I was reading it and everything, and thank God. I just say thank God.
David, can you confirm it that you all of you, your mother, everybody ran away from the family? Your sister ran away from the family. All of you were kept away from us. I didn't even know. They didn't even let me know that David is my brother. I knew him when he was small. I knew that he existed. I knew that we have brothers, they have sisters. But they would not allow them to come to Ijebu. Even when I was there, they banned everybody from contacting the family.
Yeah,
these pastors, and these are the pastors saying everybody is demon possessed. When he told me that he is David, but I said, it's not possible. He said, then he mentioned the sister. Then he mentioned everybody. He mentioned Mama. I said, my God, oh, because they kept them away from us. That is why I'm against these false doctrines that are telling everybody demon, 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 demon. Even when demon doesn't exist. That woman that they are calling demon, she was the kindest woman I've ever known in my life. She was so kind. When I will be hungry, she is the one who will take you and feed you. There is no day you will go there and she's isolated, left. Everybody.
We've won. I mean, we've seen the light. We know the way and everything now. So we give God praise. We know what to do now, and nobody can come up and scare anybody about any witchcraft or anything like that anymore now. So we give God praise. Thank God. Thank God. Just thank God. I go to Nigeria now. Nobody can tell me not to go to the devil now. Anything. I'll just laugh at them. Because once you have Christ in your life, I mean, I don't know.
But even up to now, I'm sure your mother still will not go to Ijebu, isn't it?
Till tomorrow, yeah. She won't. We're working on that. I'm working on it, and there's been a lot of changes anyway. I mean, Benga was able to go, when he went to Nigeria, so there's been a lot of changes. I mean, I'm doing lots of work now. That's why the last time I called, when I called before the last, I told you that there's a lot of things I'm doing now within the family that I'm looking inward. I mean, when there's fire on the mountain,
in my own house. I mean, I have to try and put it out first. So I'm trying to spread the news and everything. And thank God people have been listening to me. I'm trying to talk to many people within the house now, because the load even within the house now is kind of heavy, to get them to listen to you. Let them come and see the light. Let them know this is the way to follow. Let them know that they've been tricked and I mean for years. And let God show them and help them. Let them listen to you. Let them know that, no, listen, this is coming now, right from our own home. And
I'm going to say something now, very sad thing. You know, the father of this guy, this David father, he was one of the brightest stars from Ijebuland. He was one of the first principals of secondary school. There is a school. What is that school? Is it Our Ladies?
No, Comprehensive High School.
No, that is the one later on. The one it was in Ijebu. The Anglican girls only school in Ijebu. Not Our Ladies, Saint Anglican. I think they call it Saint Anglican Girls School in Ijebu. Yeah, that is your father. Was the prominent principal. Everybody that went to that school, the only girls high school in Ijebu, you know, Anglican school. Is it Saint Anglican or something they call it? Well, that school, that man, this Mr. Dairo, if you go to that school today, this school was started in the 40s or in the 18 something. If you go to that school till tomorrow, you see Mr. Dairo there, the principal. The comprehensive high school, that was what he did in the later year. He was one of the finest human beings, finest brains, but you know, he was also at a point he started believing all these witchcraft people. He started going Anglican Girls Grammar School. Yes, it is Anglican Girls Grammar School. So he started going to these Aladura places. These people just messed up. They just messed up this man's mind. I mean, he was taken. He died prematurely at the height of life. I mean, I was living in his house that day when this thing happened. I mean, he couldn't get his children. His children were away from him. The wife was away. You know, this gospel, we have to preach it to David.
No, there's no option. We've seen the way we can. That's why I'm not joking with it at all. I'm always meditating.
Because the lie has killed Nigeria. Lie has killed Ijebu. Lie has killed Yoruba people.
Their real lives, they've done everything for their own sake. And I'm challenging any pastor today that will put out his plane, private jet up, and put it up for sale, and use all the money, every bit of the money, to look after the poor. I'm challenging any man of God, everywhere in the world, not even in Nigeria, any man of God, to put up his own private jet for sale and use all the money to look after the poor. I want David, them to do it. I'll show example.
David, maybe you don't know about this situation, David. Let me tell you this. Oh, Exodus relocation. Is that not Lade? I think this is Lade. Exodus should be Lade. He said he knows the story. What do you mean? At Lade, you know the story. You lived in his house now. Lade Alabi. You don't know Lade Alabi? Omolade. He lived in your father's house. He was one of your father's students. We are living there together now. Yeah. So, do you people remember the story I told when I said I used the restroom for the first time? When I went to the restroom and I flushed water system, and I flushed the water, and the water was making a lot of noise. That is in his father's house. When I ran away and I said, don't spoil it up, those flood has come. That was in his father's house. And Omolade, you know, okay, but David.
Yes, sir.
But you know Bode now. Bode is your brother.
Yeah, I know Bode. I know Uncle Bode and Auntie Biodo.
Okay, so Uncle Bode was living in your father's house with his friend. They were living with Mama. They were living with your father. That his friend that they were living with is the one that is here now. Is Omolade. They were living in your father's house together. He knows. He should know. Omolade. This is David. This is Auntie. What's your sister?
You know me as Oduayo.
This is Oduayo. Omolade. This is Oduayo. Who I'm talking about now. So I also couldn't know that this is Oduayo now. Kayode's brother. This is him. And sister, what's your sister's, what's it? Remi's sister brother. This is Remi's brother here. Small world. Because all of them ran away from Ijebu. Everybody took place. Because of this witch, woli, all these prophet.
Sir, let me not keep everybody waiting online, sir.
Thank you for calling. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You see, people are coming out from everywhere now to confirm the story. That is why we must bring the truth back to the gospel. We must bring the truth back to the church. Lives have been destroyed. And Yoruba people, they believe these prophets. In fact, as I'm talking now, there will be not less than 3, 4, 5 Yoruba prophets who are doing some similar program live. And you know how many people, they are speaking Yoruba language or speaking with interpretation. You know how many people they will gather together at one point? 7,000 people. Talking rubbish. Telling about this witchcraft and everything. 7,000 people will be live. Right now, we only have 350. But they will have 7,000 Yoruba speaking people listening to telling witchcraft and all kind of rubbish. Destroying people's homes and families. And I've experienced it. That's why I'm so passionate. If you know Christ, if you know the truth sets you free. Hello, Osoro.
Hello, Pastor Sunday.
Yes, sir.
How are you, sir? God bless you.
Oh, today now my personal story today.
You are so passionate. I just the Lord will strengthen you.
Amen.
And He's doing that.
Amen.
He will strengthen you.
Amen.
I'm listening, and I thank God as you saying all these things. You know, I just thank God. This thing you are doing, people are Him. And their eyes will be opened. I personally can see that.
Amen.
Can see that.
Amen.
People are hearing.
Amen.
It is going to work. It is working already.
Amen.
I just wanted to quickly say this for the sake of people listening.
Yes, sir. Just
like you, Pastor Sunday, the house I grew up in, you know, I grew up with my grandmom. You know, up until from the time I was like a year till I finished secondary school.
Wow.
My grandmom raised me. You know, with my granddad had 5 wives.
Yes.
I grew up knowing 3 of them. So okay. It's the same thing. You know, fear, you know, no trust, no love, you know. But I come to realize, you know, because thank God I encountered the Lord Jesus when I was very young, I realized already right from then that when you have God, you don't need to fear anything. God is with you. You don't need to fear anything. You know, I was there. You will hear this, nothing happened to me. All the people were nice to me. I tell my wife every time, I said that I feel lively childhood growing up. Mates, they were nice to me. You know, I had any problem. Even family member will tell one is not good, this one is not good. But I didn't have no problem. Even recently, I hope people are listening to this.
Yes, sir.
We bought land some years ago, about 6 plots in Lagos. And my plan was I wanted to develop it. I wanted to put a school there to help the people around the area where I went to college. I went to Lagos State Polytechnics. And when I was there, the condition was so bad. No water, no light. The house I stayed in for the first 2 years of my college education. So I decided that I want to do what I can to help people around there.
Yes,
so
sir.
First, we like a student hostel. So we made it nice and we started renting it out for a very good price to 2 students. Then secondly, we bought this 6 plots. And my plan was I'm going to either make a school there or something that will benefit the community. Try to make it the standard of what we have here in the United States. In my heart, I'm like, if I can enjoy good stuff in the United States, I want people back home as much as I can touch to enjoy it too. So we this plot. The lady we bought it from, the people that connected me with this lady, they are all Christian. They all profess to be Christians. But you know, after we bought this plot, this lady, she went and stole the plots again.
Wow.
Started selling them to other people.
My God.
And everybody, and they were all afraid of her. They all said she's a witch. They are all afraid of her. I said, you know what? Things like this, I know how to handle it. I'm not going to have high blood pressure because of land, because of money. I'm down. in the United States. I knelt down on my bed. I said, Lord, I belong to you. Everything I belong to you. I said, absolute control. You saw Hello?
We are losing you. I don't know what's wrong. Your line is breaking.
Hello?
Hello?
Are you hearing me now?
Okay, maybe you keep on talking.
Hello?
Now. I think it's better now.
Hello? Okay. So I said, Lord, take absolute control. I'm not fighting anybody. I'm not going to hurt anybody. I'm not struggling for anything. You are the one that took care of Isaac. So you take care of this. And I left it there. My closest friend in Nigeria is a pastor. He's the one I call Papa. He's the one that got involved with this land to help me to connect to the guy. But he's a good guy. But I told him, I said, leave it. Don't fight nobody, just leave it. Don't struggle, just leave it. I prayed and I settled my heart.
Faith.
I don't even think about it.
Yes, faith in God.
If they try to call me, I'll say, I'm not discussing it, just leave it. Yes. It's in the hands of God. Do you know that last year, out of nowhere, my wife's sister, she just got up. She said, maybe I can do something about this. She went to meet some people in Ogun State. And before we know it, these people in Ogun State contacted this woman and they dragged her to meet with them. And they are forcing her to pay every of the dime back to me. Wow. I did not leave the United States. This woman, you know what she was saying? She said, who is this Osaro? She said, I've never seen somebody like this. Every other land I took from people, nobody could take it back. She said, but this person is special. She said, I've done so many stuff in that land. I went to put all kinds of stuff. How come his case is different?
A Christian woman.
I told my wife, I said, you see, I don't need to fight for anything. Why? Because if you operate in love, what is witch? Love. People don't have that type of power.
Love power.
They don't have that type of power. They are all, confronted with the same challenges everybody faces in life. In fact, some of them are even suffering.
Yes.
So why am I going to waste my time trying to fight or do this type of thing because I believe in their power? No. I have Jesus, so I don't need to worry. All I need to do is make sure I'm in love.
Yes.
If I'm in love, nothing can go wrong. So I just want to thank God for this, and I hope Nigerians, they begin to get this, because if we get this in our heart, a lot of things will change in Nigeria.
Your story is a vindication. It's a vindication to me. Your story, this story, is a powerful vindication. Thank you for telling it. Thank you. Wow, unbelievable. What a powerful story. Love overcomes. Love is superior to witchcraft. Love is superior to enemy. That's why God said, love your enemy. This story is a powerful vindication. But in our country, instead of spreading love, people are spreading fear. Fear of the enemy, fear of Satan. It needs to stop. This thing must stop. Okay, I think we have one more caller, maybe one more call, and that will be all for today. And thank God for what a day today. Now, those people asking for who are asking for scriptures and things like that, believe me, if you have been listening to Pastor Sunday, you know that scriptures you will have more than you need. Hello, Godwin. Yes, sir. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. I'm happy that I'm able to talk today.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Germany.
Okay.
Yeah. So my name is Godwin, and I've been following your program for some time now.
Okay.
And I'm really happy that we are hearing messages like this. And for those who will not understand, they will think that it is a case of Christians attacking Christians. But it is a case of truth.
Yes,
attacking
sir.
falsehood.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, in our church today.
Yes.
And from what I have learned, and from what you have been saying, this is a case similar to what happened in Acts of the Apostle chapter 8 about Simeon.
Yes.
who was a sorcerer. You know, the Bible says that until Paul came, he had held all the city in with his magic. He has held them in
fear.
And they were thinking that he was the great power of God.
Yes.
Which is the exact thing that is happening
in Nigeria.
Not just in Nigeria, but in the whole of Africa.
Africa. Yes.
And the whole city were amazed by his magic. And I think what the difference between what he did at that time and what is happening in our church today is that we use this magic with the name of Jesus to cover up for it.
Yes.
And until it takes men like you now and like us now to stand up and speak, the whole of Africa and the whole of Nigeria. I remember one of your messages where you said that T.V. Joshua also,
yes.
Joshua, they should be held responsible
yes.
for the magic in the church in Africa,
yes.
not just in Nigeria. And I totally agree with you. Unless we can rise up to speak and challenge them and show them what they need to do, the people of God will still be misled till thy kingdom come.
Yes.
And it amazes me when people forget that Christ himself has said that a time is coming when people will come and perform miracles in his name. But they are still false. So I don't know how the eyes of Africans will be open to see this truth and to know this truth.
Make you help me tell them, oh, Godwin.
So, sincerely, I am in support of what you are doing, and in any way that we can take this message back to Nigeria and to Africa, because if you get Nigeria, you get Africa.
Yes.
We will really, we will be willing to partnership to make this message a reality and to make the people hear it. Like you said now, this about only 300 and something people hearing whatever you are saying now. And if you go to YouTube, you will not see more than 1 million. But if you see anything, you will be blessed tomorrow. If you give, you will be given 12,000. You will see 1 million shares. You see. So we have a problem, and I'm happy that a solution is coming. And together we will work to make Nigeria what it is and what it should be in the place of Christianity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Godwin. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. You know, we shall know the truth shall set people free. But unfortunately, you know, I'm so sorry, people are going for this kind of deceptions. Taking their money, bringing fear into their lives, all those kind of things. What will you say about this story today? She cannot talk because she is a secret agent. Or maybe you would like to say something. It's interesting to see what people hear my story. Let's hear Mayowa. Mayowa go talk today. She has been hiding all this while. Today.
Hello, everyone. I've heard Pastor's story before, but each time that he tells the story, it still amazes me. And first of all, to just find out, to discover the kind of person that Dr. Sunday himself is, to have gone through all of those things and come out triumph in this way, and also to be a believer, somebody that really believes in God to the level that he does. So that tells me a lot about him personally. But you know, hearing this story again today, I was just I was just heartbroken that all of these things happened to him or happened in the family. But just thinking about how many people have been destroyed generally in Africa with this kind of mentality and the way that we think and how we elevate. Yes, we elevate witchcraft, we elevate this Satan, we elevate the devil more than we even acknowledge God at all. You know, and this is really what our problem is. And you know, I just remember that God is not going to change his principle or anything for anybody. You know, and we all really need to open our eyes and really truly believe God as we should. Believe God more than we believe man. Believe God more than we believe Satan, or we focus on Satan, because we seem to be doing that so much more. And, you know, the other aspect of it that I really realize is that how, you know, we really don't have any love in our hearts. When Dr. Sunday was talking about his mom, which is his grandmother, and all the pain that she was going through at the time, and how, instead of us to love her and, be around her, people to be around her, they were actually blaming her. The person that look after the children, the person that just had the children in the first place. Why they were, yes. And how that our mentality would say that we should blame that person rather than love, care, respect, and, just feel empathy. Why are we just knocking those people down more? So what is in us, which that is making, yes, what is in us that is making us more to gravitate towards more this negativity? So it was more of this, just putting people down.
That's what superstition does. Superstition.
So Dr. Sunday is saying that's what superstition does. But, I think that even for me, myself,
deception.
For myself, we should all really look within us and look at why we believe these things and stop it. To stop doing this and, focus on the positive, on God, on love, the things that God tells us, the simple things of life that God tells us, to stop the superstition. How many families have been broken because of this? How many people in your family do you even know? I'm thinking about myself personally as well. There are many people in my family that I don't know. I only know the people that my mother gave birth to. Everybody else is like, they don't exist, because of this type of superstition, because this person did this. How can we say that somebody is more powerful than God? So we really need to elevate God, evaluate our love and what we know about God. And stop listening to just men. Also read our Bible, love God. When we have the love of God in our hearts, I don't think we would even consider all of these things that we consider in a negative way, where we're not loving people, we're blaming people, we're elevating the powers that are, just below us already. So I just think, and churches don't help. It doesn't help to go to places where they're telling you to pray in a certain way. I know we've discussed this and I don't want to drag us back. But if you continuously go to a place where they're telling you that somebody is a devil, they're putting fear in you, they're putting ideologies, they're suggesting certain things to you, it's really wrong. You need to stand up. Stand up and know that the God in you is more than even any man, more than any GO, and more than any purpose, more than anyone. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for the God that is in you. Don't just sit there and accept it. Don't just think that, okay, these people are much higher than me, I shouldn't talk. You should speak. God loves you. You are important to God. Before you were born, He knew you. So He knows everything about you. He knows, even those people don't know anything. They're just mere mortals like you. They have blood and water in you. Don't elevate them more than you elevate God. God should be number one with everything. So I just want to share that please, we are also perpetrators, because we were born into these generations that we've been put, there's a lot of fears that have been put in us. We've been told many traditional things are wrong. So please, be cautious when you're talking to other people. Be cautious of the way that you behave to other people. Be cautious of what you tell your children, what you give your children to believe. If you haven't listened to certain teachings of Dr. Sunday, like the analytical thinking, where are your reference points from? They tell you not to go to your village. They point fingers and say somebody is the person that is doing you bad or whatever. Don't believe it. Don't even pass it on to somebody else. Don't let it stay in your mind. Know that He that is in you is greater than anything. Is greater than anyone. Is great enough to protect you. And if they cannot get you up to this stage, they're not going to get you. God has got a package for you. So remember the values that we watch, Dr. Sunday's value, new program on values. Look into those values and look at it, that you have a package that God has already put in you to come on this earth. So nobody's going to derail God. Even if you don't have any power, but God has power. God that sent you here, that created you, have power. So don't believe in any of these things. Just be strong and continue to fortify yourself in God. Nobody else, no man, in God. And fear no one and fear nothing, because He that is in you is greater. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we hear Queen Julie.
Yes. Hi, everyone. So I was thinking,
while listening to Dr. Sunday, I realized that Africa is really traumatized. And I understand that so much better now that we are...
That's a good selection of words.
Yes, we are really, really traumatized, and we really need help. Seriously, we need help. And I'm so glad that Pastor Sunday shared his story, because it made me understand my own story better. And I think this applies to many of you, because I saw someone saying many of us have experienced similar issues, because really we are traumatized. We are in darkness. As a continent, as a whole continent, we are traumatized. We are, we are really the black continent. We are the continent in darkness, because fear is ruling this continent. Everything that has happened is regarded from the lens of fear. And this is the first perspective or perception that we have. Everything goes, through the lens of fear instead of through the lens of love. Because we are all so fixed on, all the evil, exactly, evil that is happening around us. And because we lack understanding, we try to justify and explain things, with lack of understanding. And so we stay in darkness. And what is lack of understanding? What is lack of knowledge? It's darkness. It's ignorance. So I'm just so grateful that Pastor Sunday shared this, because in my own family, we also have stories like that. We have... I don't even know how often we went on deliverance sessions, for whatever happened in Africa. And because my mom, when I was 6 years old, my mom left Europe and went back to Africa. And 9 years, I grew up without my mom for 9 years. So she came back when I was 15. And through all these 9 years, there's so many things that happened and stories that were told, and just so much... To me, rubbish, seriously, because it doesn't even matter. Because afterwards, she came and she, received Christ as her Lord and Savior. She apparently already did in Africa, but it wasn't enough, because we were going through ceremonies and deliverance sessions for deliverance sessions, and all these stories about rituals that were done or not done, and someone was lying and someone was against us. It extended so much that, part of my family even, we're not talking to each other because supposed evil motives against my father or my mom or all these things. For me, it never made any difference, because I was always under the impression that if we say that we're new in Christ and all our past is gone and all of that, where is this in the practice? These are only words that we utter because we're so, I don't even know how to explain this. We are so... what's the word? Yeah, we're so superstitious. We just say stuff just to silence our fear and, somehow cover our ignorance. And there's nothing behind all those words. And we just walk around life so blinded and refer to men of God and all these witches and I don't know. I'm just so saddened by the fact that it's so clear, that we are all, our continent's just covered in darkness. And I was so happy that Pastor Sunday was so detailed, because look at what he went through. Look at the story he told about the witch or whoever this was who cut him.
The witch doctor.
Yeah, the witch doctor who cut his forehead and everything. I mean, this is a ritual right there. This is it, whatever they talk about, you're being possessed, or some people have done this with you. With him, it was done, and nobody made any 5-hour deliverance session with him. Nobody did that, and
just
now we are all
just
redemption, and we are all sitting here listening to him being delivered by his words, by the teachings that he's sharing with us. I mean, this should really speak to us. It should open our eyes to the fact that we've been living in superstition. And we really have to get out of this. We have to embrace Christ in us as he really is. It also shows me that we really don't know the Christ that is in us. We are all, again, just uttering verses, just saying whatever pastor has been telling us, but we don't know, we don't really know the Christ that is in us. We don't know his power, the power of his love, of his redemption, the power of the cross, what he has done for us, the price that he has paid. We don't know and we don't believe. Otherwise, our continent would not look the way it does. So I don't know, I have mixed feelings, like always. I have mixed feelings, and I'm just so very grateful. I want everyone to listen to this. This is like the message for African people, for African believers, religious people, they have to listen to this. We have to make sure that everyone we know who's African especially and who's believing in all these things, they have to listen to this whole series of, spiritual attacks and 7 weapons of spiritual attacks. They have to listen to it. We owe it to our people to share this with them. Because if we just sit here, listen to this, say thank you and are delivered, it's not going to do any good to our continent. We're going to, just harness this for us, and it's not going to change anything. So let us share this message. Please let us all share it and listen to it over and over again so that we know what we're doing in our continent and we know how to fix the problems that we are facing. So thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful, strong words. Well, I needed to share my story, my family story, because I needed to share so that people will know that I am familiar with witchcraft and, evil spirit and demon and, witch doctors and everything. I'm familiar with those things. I'm very familiar. And so they shouldn't say it's because I've been living in Europe for 30 years, I'm naive. I'm not. I just know better. And I pray that the knowledge of Christ will drive out the darkness of ignorance in my continent. All those things that pastors are doing, pastors are bringing and imagined us into ignorance. That's what these pastors are doing. I'm sorry. What these pastors are doing is manipulation. In fact, put that thing again, that video about the pastors. That's why I'm doing this series. I'm releasing it on Sunday. So remember that 7 a.m. Nigerian time and 7 a.m. British time. I'm going to release a new series and I'm going to be releasing it. This is just the trailer towards it. This is the advert that is going to prepare that we need a new generation of pastors. And if you're already a pastor, all of us, we need to learn to really become, pastors after God's heart.
Is it easy to be a successful pastor? How challenging is the pastoral ministry for you? These days, becoming a pastor in Africa has transitioned from being a calling to a challenging business assignment that demands manipulation, tricks, and cheating to survive and prevail on the pulpit.
And you pastors don't have to compromise. You don't need to go to the native doctors. You don't need to go to witches. You don't need to manipulate things. You don't need to do the wrong things to be successful. I've been successful as a pastor. Our church and my ministry has been regarded as one of the top most successful ministries in the world without using witchcraft, without manipulating, without using ESP, without praise about doctrines, without preaching paganistic gospel. You could still be successful and still do the right thing and still make it.
Can you pastor God's way? Can you carry this burden without secretly shedding tears?
Jesus says that his yoke and his burden, they are easy and light. When he calls us to ministry, he doesn't intend for us to have a burden that is too heavy on us or the yoke that we cannot bear. So the first thing to do to become a pastor without tears is to know for sure that you are called to pastoral ministries. If you are not sure about it, just be a believer where you are. Discover your other passions and begin to realize them and begin to fulfill God's calling upon your life in other areas of life other than pastoring. But if you want to pastor, please make sure you know God is leading you. Number 2, you need to learn how to just practice casting that burden back to God, returning the burden back to God. Your role as a pastor is to make sure that you see what the Father wants to do. Once you see what God does, you just only repeat what he does. So that's the secret of of success in the ministry of Jesus. The idea is to duplicate what heaven is already doing. The idea is to duplicate what the Father is already doing. To be a pastor without tears.
If you found this video useful, please tag all pastors you know in the comment section below. DSA's Pastoral Nuggets, Principles and Words of Wisdom for Ministers and Laity. by Dr. Sunday Adelaja, Senior Pastor and Founder of Embassy of God Church. Join us live on Facebook every Sunday, 7 a.m. UK and Nigerian time.
Yeah, I think we need a new generation of pastors, and that's why I'm doing this series. So this is one of the series. If you have been following what I've been doing, you will discover that I've done a series that is called DSA Philosophy. So that's going to be coming out every week, Philosophies of Life. Then I've done VS's Thoughts. These are my thoughts about how to bring Renaissance and development, civilization to Africa. So that's DSA's Thoughts. Then after that, we have DSA's innovation. That's where I teach people, and I want to teach the next generation to be inventors and innovators, that everybody can become inventors and innovators. And then from there, I, started another one that is called DSA's Values. This value system that everybody could use as a ladder to climb up to become anybody that they want to become in life and to reach any height that they want to attain to in life. So that is another series, but today is the fifth one that I'm going, the fifth project that I'm releasing. And this is going to be released on Sunday, 7 a.m. British time and Sunday, 7 a.m. Nigerian time. That's on Sunday. But after that, I'm still going to have 2 more projects coming. Just for, I'm trying to work. I'm busy, but I will still need a lot of people to help us. We need graphic designers. I'm talking about video design, video graphics, videographers, and video editors. So if you know anything about video editing and graphics, please write to us on this. Just write to us somehow on Facebook inbox or in the comment section right now. Or even if you don't know but you want to learn, let us know. We'll teach you. But we just need a lot of hands. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time. We've passed our time limit today, so I'll be back tomorrow. God bless. Bye.